Hi, I'm Bennett, and today I'm going to be taking you through lessons from the Lorax. This activity has students listen to the Lorax, discuss lessons from the book, and play a cooperative board game to model replanting the trees cut down by the Onceler. Lessons from the Lorax is a great fit for both lower and upper elementary students, covering content in language arts, social studies, and science. The lesson's objectives are that students will be able to identify cause and effect events from the Lorax by completing a graphic organizer, analyze what happens when trees are cut down to make things that people want and they are not replanted, and communicate and work cooperatively during a small group game to simulate the benefits of teamwork when restoring habitats. To complete this lesson, you will need the following materials: the Lorax book, the provided game board and materials, and small objects to use as game pieces. The lesson begins with the book The Lorax. Before reading, ask students to make predictions about what they think might happen in the story, who they think the characters are, and what problems they may face. Once they make their predictions, each student will receive a copy of the Cause and Effect graphic organizer. Now it's time to read the Lorax. While you read, students should fill in the effects of the events listed on the organizer. For example, the Onceler needs more needs to keep up with the number of people that want them. What is the effect this has on characters and the setting in the story? For younger students, the graphic organizer can be completed as a class on a DotCam or on chart paper. After reading the story, there is a set of discussion questions to ask students that will deepen understanding. Things like, what does it mean to speak for the trees? And what could the Onceler have done to keep this special place healthy? One question has students reflect on the world they see around them. Think about the imaginary land in the Lorax as it was before the Onceler arrived. Did it remind you of any real place you have seen? Now think about how it looked after the Onceler and his family cut down so many truffula trees. Did that remind you of any real place you have seen? Part 2 is a board game where students will be picking up where the book left off. All the truffula trees are cut down to make needs, but they can help reforest the land. To start the game, you'll tell students, you and your friends care a whole awful lot and want to replant the trees that the Onceler cut down. As you move along the game board, you'll need to collect 3 resources that get traded in to replant a tree. But there's also a lumberjack making his way around the board to try to stop you from succeeding. If your team plants all the trees, meaning you fill the grid on the board, before the lumberjack returns to the factory, you all win. But if he gets back to the factory before you plant all the trees, he will cut down every tree you have planted and the game is over. A key piece of this game is that there is no individual winner. All students in the group work together to beat the lumberjack. Students are rolling the dice, picking cards, using strategy. It's fun. Let me show you a couple rounds of how play may look. As you can see, we start the game at the factory with the lumberjack. It's my turn, so I am going to roll the dice to move my piece, the marker cat. I got a 3, and I landed on the sun, which means I get to collect 1 sun resource, which is exciting, because in order for me to plant trees, I need 1 of each resource: sun, water, and soil. On my next turn, I rolled and landed on one of the pink mystery spaces, which means I draw a random card from the pile. Oh shoot! I drew the card that has the lumberjack move forward 3 spaces. I wish I drew the card that let me immediately plant a tree. A couple rounds of play later, we've used all our turns to roll the die and move forward. I have 2 suns. My friend has 2 waters. So for this turn, instead of rolling the dice to move forward, I am going to trade one of my sun resources for one of their water resources, helping us both get closer to planting a tree. We go through another round, and on my next turn, I got lucky and rolled a 1, landing on the soil resource. Now I have all 3 resources and will trade them in to plant our first tree in the forest. So that gives you an idea of how gameplay runs. The full student-friendly instructions are available in the lesson plan. When students finish the game, there are discussion questions that allow them to reflect on what they accomplished in the board game, how they were able to do so, and how it connects to the story of the Lorax. For instance, if you were replacing all of the trees by yourself, do you think you would be able to fill the forest before the lumberjack made it to the factory? Why or why not? Or, what do you think the forest is like now that you have replanted all the trees cut down by the Onceler? Some discussion questions will also expand student thinking around the story and connect the board game to the real world. You can ask students, think about the real-life place we talked about earlier that was damaged. Now think about what you learned while playing the game. What do you think people should do to fix that real-life place? And that's Lessons from the Lorax. To access this lesson plan and other fun elementary activities like it, visit populationeducation.org. Thanks!